guys, it's Sam. Welcome to another day of Vlogmas, and today we are going to talk about my most anticipated releases for 2020. So I did recently do a video on my most anticipated releases for winter. So I'll link that on the screen because some of those would fall into this category, but I'm not going to mention them again at length. So Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett I think would definitely make this list, and possibly The Will in the Wilds. Those are the two that I think would also be most anticipated for the whole year, because the whole year most anticipated is a smaller, like, high elite list, where the seasonal ones are still anticipated, but like they're not all gonna be like most anticipated of the whole year kind of books, you know what I mean? So these are like the top cream of the crop. This was one of the topics that was voted on by my Patreon supporters. They really wanted to see this. So if you want to contribute to more of my content in the same way that they have with some of these polls and things that you've been hearing me mention throughout Vlogmas, then I will leave my Patreon linked on the screen and you can contribute in 2020. So I'm going to keep this rather short and brief as far as my explanations of these books and things like that, because I'm going to be talking about these books more in my most anticipated for the seasons as 2020 goes on. So I don't really want to go through all my synopses and then just like repeat myself, you know, every season when these books come out sooner. I'm also kind of like leaving these as like not knowing a ton. You guys know how I am. I don't love knowing a lot about books before going in. I read the synopsis initially, and then my brain gets rid of the information and is like, go in blind. So yeah, a lot of these I'm just like excited because a lot of these are like favorite authors, continuations of series, things like that. So trying to keep this brief, but if you're excited about any of these, definitely look up the Goodreads synopsis. So the first book comes out on March 3rd, and that is The Midnight Lie by Marie Rudkowski. I am so excited about this, and this was just recently announced. I didn't know it was coming. I think there was like been brief things mentioned and like the cover came out, whatever, but I hadn't heard about this for quite some time. Then all of a sudden it was like, it's here, it's announced. And there's like arcs going out and things like that. This is set in the same world as the Winners trilogy, which is one of my favorite YA fantasy angsty romance trilogies. And this is supposed to be a epic fantasy LGBTQ romance set in the same world. And I'm just like, oh my God, I am so excited. No one quite writes angst the way that she does, so I'm assuming this is gonna be more angsty romance, and I honestly cannot wait. I can't wait. I hope we get glimpses of the other characters from the last series, but not like too much. I want it to be good. I want it to be so good. Then on April 7th, similar theme here, we have The Empire of Dreams by Rae Carson. This is also set in the same world as her Girl of Fire and Thorn series that I've talked about a lot as an underrated fantasy series that she wrote some time ago, but is a sort of continuation, follows some characters that I believe were younger at the time in the first series. And I am very excited because I haven't really followed Rae Carson's other stuff, but I love the Girl of Fire and Thorn series. It is a like sort of desert-based fantasy, Latinx culture inspired. Everybody is basically of like a Latinx origin, although obviously it's a fantasy world, so they're not, you know, like Spanish and, you know, that kind of Spanish almost inspired, Latinx inspired setting. So good. So I hope, again, similar to the first book, that we get some like hints of what's happening with like basically Hector and Storm and Elisa and all of that. Like I just, and then these characters and everything. I'm very excited. I hope it's good. Please be good. There's a common theme here that I didn't even fully realize until I started talking about this. On April 30th, we have The Girl in the Stars by Mark Lawrence. This is a new series that takes place in his Book of the Ancestors series, which again is one of my favorite series. I didn't love the finale, but I loved the first two books especially, and I can't wait to be back in this world because I love it so much. This may answer some of the questions that I feel like didn't get answered in the Book of the Ancestors series, which is why I was disappointed in the finale. I'm still not going to forgive the fact that I think some of these things should have been answered in the first series, but I love this world. I want to be back in it. I want to see more of it. Let's do this. And this seems to follow more of the Ice Tribers, which were a part of the world that we got glimpses of, but were more focused on the magical assassin nuns, which I was totally fine with. And this seems to be just like a bit of a different part of the world, so hype for this. Then on May 12th, we have House of Dragons by Jessica Cluess. This is the first book in a new fantasy series. Jessica Cluess wrote the Kingdom on Fire series. The last book I haven't finished in that yet, but I really enjoy that series. It's set in Victorian London. It's very underrated. I like it a lot. This is just a dragon book. A YA dragon book. Seems sort of like House Targaryen-y. I don't care really what it's about. I really enjoy her writing. I think it's fun. She gets a little dark and twisty sometimes, but not too dark. And it's dragons. I don't need anything else really. Then on June 2nd, we have Where Dreams Descend by Janella and Jealous. And this I've been hearing about for a while. Lainey from Gingery's Lainey talked about it a little bit and I think read an arc of it. But this is a fantasy duology, the first book in a fantasy duology that is Phantom of the Opera inspired. And it looks like it's more like romance fantasy, so it's a little bit heavier on the romance. I'm fine with that. Phantom of the Opera is peak angsty drama. If you are not intimately familiar with the Phantom of the Opera, because I certainly am not or was not until I watched this video I'm going to link down below from Lindsay Ellis, who is one of my favorite video essayists that does stuff on like pop culture. She did a whole video on Phantom of the Opera and that's how I discovered her. And it's great. So I highly recommend watching that if you have some spare time, and really any of her video essays, they're amazing. But I'm excited about this for the peak drams. So excited. Then on September 22nd, we have the Silvered Serpens by Roshni Chakshi. This was a book that was supposed to be released earlier in the year and it has been pushed back. It's the second book in the Gilded Wolves series. I am so hyped for this. I do have an arc of it. I'm nervous, but I don't want to read, like, I don't want to read the arc now and have this book not come out until September. Like, I don't think I can physically cope with that. So we'll see. I might be putting this off a little bit until like early, like when it was supposed to come out basically. But I'm so excited for this. The angst and the things that are going to happen in this book, I really can't even contain my excitement about it. So can't wait. Even though it's gonna be a long time until it comes out. Ooh my gosh, I'm so excited. And lastly is a pipe dream that I mention in literally every single most anticipated year videos since I've read this series, and that is The Thorn of Emberlane by Scott Lynch. This could come out in 2020. It really could. It really could come out like the end of 2020 because this year sometime, I think in like the summer or the spring even, he did post that he had submitted a manuscript of this book to his publisher. So there's a chance. Okay, there's a chance. And I kind of don't want to read the third book in the series until this book is like announced. On Goodreads, there's not even a slot for when it's coming out yet. Like it's not set in stone, but I want it to come out so badly. It's the fourth book in the Gentleman Bastard series. I love this series, one of my favorite adult fantasy series. It's so good. And I need this to come out like this year. Like here's the thing. I need 2020 to be a good year, and it's going to be. It's going to be a great year, a year of just thriving and goodness and happiness and joy and contentment and peace and calm. And this book needs to come out during a year like that. So it needs to come out in 2020. So that is it for some of my most anticipated releases for 2020. Comment them below and let me know some of yours. So thank you all for watching and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.